This is Drop Tent Media Network.
Hi, I'm International Man of Mystery Dan DePriel, and I'm one of the weekday comics. My friend Dave and I get paid to do comedy, believe it or not. But we're not allowed to tell all the jokes we want to tell. That's why we started this podcast. Join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m., where we're going to talk about the news of the day and tell a couple of jokes that we just don't feel comfortable telling on stage. Hey, we don't have careers, so who gives a weekday comics? Our podcast, where we give you the big bags of trash we were born to be and aren't allowed on the shows they pay us to do.
We're dating. Say more. You know more.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. We're dating, a podcast about dating and sex and love.
And love, most of all.
Yes, most of all, love. Yes, and we are joined today by our Eric Thomas, acclaimed playwright, author, storyteller, stand-up dramedian, if you remember that one from the
Wait,
mid-2000s.
is that what you said when you brought
I think somebody else called him that, and then he ran with it for a little while.
Ran with it. Some guy I went on a date with was like, you should call yourself a stand-up dramedian. And I was like, I went and made Vistaprint business cards that I would hand out. Like on like bus stops. Like, I'm a stand-up dramedian for all your needs.
Oh, wow. I love the what is it? The like, not co-signing. Ooh, copywriting of that.
Oh, yeah.
That's yours forever now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to let that one like just like hang out in the vault. Like it's in the Disney vault right now. I'm like, it can't come out for 200 years.
So we're doing chance encounters.
Yes.
Which I don't know what that means. In some ways.
We were talking a little bit before the show about the theme of chance encounters, and I realized that really anything before the digital age, if you met somebody, that was a chance encounter. There was you couldn't meet people on purpose before,
right?
You know, Grindr, Manhunt, Tinder, etc.
Yeah.
So it was all a chance.
It was just based on your charisma and then hoping things worked out.
Yeesh. Yeah. And those are not things that I have. You know, luck and charisma, yikes. Which is why I love our new digital age, because everything's like location based and you're just like, well, this person says it's like 500 feet away. I'm just going to like make a big loop. I'm just going to walk around and be like, George! George!
Has that ever worked?
I don't think so. But I have hope, you know, like.
Well, I mean, like, you have the ultimate chance encounter. You met your husband in the audience at a show of yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because it was like a chance encounter for me, but not necessarily for him. Oh. Like he had seen me hosting a show called The Moth that I host. It was my first time hosting that show, and he was there. And he was with a congregant. He's a pastor, and one of his congregant like nudged him and was like, "You should marry that guy on stage." And he said to the congregant, "Oh, I can't. He's too famous," which is a beautiful thing.
Oh my God!
To heard secondhand, you know. And at that point, nobody knew who I was, and so then I a couple months later, I did a one-person show. About boys, God, and baked goods. So it's about my search for religion and a husband. And he was sitting in the audience. And I was like, oh, and like in between that, I skipped a step. In between that, we had been on a panel together, and he agreed to be on the panel because he wanted to meet me. So he was, what I'm saying, stalking me. And
I was like waiting. I was like, this is reading Stalker, but you're giving Nora Ephron.
This is the thing. Every plot of every Nora Ephron movie, you just change the major keys to minor keys, and you're like, actually, I don't think so.
Literally, yeah, right? Just like put Jaws music in and all of a sudden.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and so I look out on the audience and I'm like, oh, there's that pastor. How interesting. And afterwards I told him, I was like, how do I get across that I'm into him? Meanwhile, I had literally done an hour of like stand-up dramedy where I was like, I really would love to have a boyfriend. And so I'm like, I say to him, your shirt is very becoming. And he was like, thanks. And then like,
if I was on you, it'd be coming too.
I should have. But instead, hours later, I was like, I Facebook messaged him and was like, would you like to go to dinner? And then he spent the entire weekend at like a friend's cabin being like, do you think this is a date or like a professional thing? So
he
neither
spiraled.
one of us.
You sent him into a spiral.
I know. And I've been doing it for 10 years.
That's beautiful. Oh my God. Did you have a chance encounter before? This is the most chancy.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, so the other chance encounter I always think about is I worked at Hard Rock Cafe in Baltimore for a long time, about 4 or 5 years.
The one on the
harbor.
Yes.
Yeah, you know it, with the big guitar, plays Johnny B. Good on the string. And I loved it. It was my favorite job. I loved, like, and it was this terrible time in my life where I was like drinking too much and I had no prospects, and like it was like, and like being gay in Baltimore at that time, like early 2000s, was like very racially segregated. So it was just like white people, like white guys refusing to speak to me in clubs, and then me going to work and selling, jumbo combos. So beautiful time. At the same time, I was also working at a comedy club, the Improv, and that was really educational for me as a future not comedian. I was like, oh, okay, so I guess I am not one of you.
Right.
So anyway, I get off of work one day, and Mark Broussard, this like singer-songwriter, is like doing a concert at Hard Rock. And so I'm sitting at the bar, and there's this like very hot, like corn-fed looking tall guy sitting across the bar. And I'm not a hit on people person. I'm like more of like a look, like my eyes bug out of the head and go awooga and then leave them alone kind of person. So the bartender's a friend of mine. He takes the guy's order. I hear him order a Long Beach iced tea, which is a Long Island with cranberry juice.
Okay.
Good
to know. I'm writing that down.
Right. Little bartender secret. You're welcome. And so I say to the bartender loud enough to be heard, I'll have a Long Beach iced tea too.
It's not subtle at all.
Yeah, it wasn't a strong suit. So we're across the bar. Mark Broussard is playing. We're not like making eyes. He definitely reads as heterosexual. I go down to the bathroom. He follows me down to the bathroom. And he's like talking to me at the urinal in a way that's like, I was like, this isn't quite heterosexual. What's happening? So we go up at the bar, and he comes over to the other side, and he's like, do you want to get out of here and like find a place to like watch March Madness? And I was like, the end of that sentence was confusing.
Oh, yeah, that would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
What did I do? I went to 4 different bars in search of a March Madness game.
Oh my God.
Well, we got progressively drunker. And like, meanwhile, I find out that he's on leave from the army. And
That's ringing army to me. I'm not going to lie. Okay.
Yeah. And he's like due back the next day. And I was like, oh, this is heartbreaking. This is beautiful. This will be our romantic story, except for we got to watch, I guess, 3 different basketball games.
For this to work out.
Oh, so he's like so drunk he can't figure out how to get himself home at the not like I don't want to make it sound like he wasn't in control. He just like he was like disoriented. He was like, I'm in Baltimore. Where, like, how do I get?
I don't
back?
live here.
Yeah, how do I get back to the airport?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you just get in a cab. And he's like, all right, well, can you help me? And I was like, sure, not realizing like what that question entails. So we go back to his hotel. Finally, we watch more basketball. No, I'm just kidding.
Eric, how dare you?
No, we have incredible sex, like which like I would not expect from somebody who is like a closeted person in the army, but I kind of would expect from somebody who's ordering a Long Beach iced tea and
Repression.
hitting on me.
Repression is a hell of a stimulant.
I mean, woof. So the next morning, he wakes up late for army.
I'm late for army.
Like, oh no, gotta go and bathe someplace. So he like has to get on a plane and go back to like camp wherever, and
Fort something.
Yeah. So he's at an airport hotel, and so we like go back to the airport. And this is post 9/11, so I couldn't go back with him. I got like I'm 90 years old. I'm like, well, I was smoking in the airport.
9/11, people don't remember that now. That makes me feel old now.
Truly, like I would have walked him to the gate, where, like
because romance is key.
Romance is key. Instead, I was like, well, all right, I'll see you later. He's like, well, hold on. And I was like, what am I doing here? So he's at the gate, like haggling, trying to get on another plane to go to, I don't know, Afghanistan. I don't know. And so then he turns back around, and there's like 3 other people in line. It's like 5, 6 in the morning. And he comes back to me. He's like, thank you so much. Grabs me by the small of my back, dips me back like we're in a movie, kisses me in the air in BWI. The early 2000s. While Homeland Security was being built from the ground up by Donald Rumsfeld, he bends me over backwards and kisses me so hard and long. And I was like, swoon, 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 swoon. And so I was like, I wrote down my number on a piece of paper. I was like, well, call me sometime. And I have not changed my number because one day he's going to call me. It's been 23 years.
It's
One day, and I'm sure that, we're both looking worse for the wear, but I'm still,
I love the romance of that.
right? All because of Mark Broussard and Long Beach Iced Teas.
Do you? Okay, I guess I have two questions. One, do you regret any of that encounter?
No. I regret not going back to, I regret not being like, who cares about basketball?
I've been like, you don't regret the basketball? Okay, and then like, this is easily one of the most romantic stories of my life that I've heard in at least a long time. But like, would you have not given him your number if you did things differently? Or are you just like, I you know what? If the call happens, it's the... do you think he'd be disappointed if he did call?
Oh, no. See, I'm very much a romantic. Like, a romantic and a slut. And, like, those are...
That's a beautiful combination. That's a winning combo.
It really is. I mean, most of the time, you're sort of like, you get one or you get the other.
Yeah.
But, like, this one, I got both. Wow. And I was like, if he called, like, even if it was sort of like, here, what are the realities? This is the second half of the Lifetime movie where he's like, well, I'm Army and I'm, I'm in the closet and I do this in every town or whatever. But there was just such a sweetness to our exchange, even though it was like very weird and fueled by a lot of tequila. But like, I don't think so, because I was at a point in my life where I was like in my early 20s and I was so lost, and it seemed like, and maybe this is good, maybe this is bad, he was also maybe like trying to find himself as well. And like we could have found ourselves together. That's the romantic part.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, there's something that's really kind of like open and like loose about your early 20s anyway.
Yeah. Sorry. There's a lot that was open and loose about my 20s too. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so mature.
What is this podcast for if not immature?
Oh my God.
That's amazing. I don't know why I didn't see that as I was saying it. It's open and loose.
Hopefully not that loose. You're pretty young, you haven't been through the
got nice retention, you know what I mean?
You got to set it through the dishwasher a couple more times before I get.
But like, you're willing to take chances.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you like to share with the class?
I do. I would love to share. I wasn't going to share this story, but you reminded me, Eric.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I used to work in porn, but I worked a desk job in porn. I managed a website for streaming gay digital porn around 2008, 2009.
Wait, what does that entail? I am confused.
Well, I would go online and find people who were posting porn online, and I would go, well, my company will offer you a non-exclusive contract to stream your porn. So we'd stream their porn, and they would get 25% of the proceeds. Of course, now of course there's no proceeds in porn. No, that was an old business model that expired very quickly. So, but part of promoting and marketing porn was that they would send us to Pride events all over the country. So I would go to Pride in Chicago, in DC, in Boston, in Omaha, all over the place. Seattle. I had an amazing time. So one night, I'm pretty sure this was Omaha, Nebraska. And I had what I would do was I would sign people up during the day at the Gay Pride Parade, and I'd get their email address and I'd give them a porn DVD or a dirty toy or a naughty soap or whatever.
Very fun.
And then I would go out that night and I would find people that I'd given porn to and be like, "Hey, you remember me, huh? Like I'm your little buddy who gave you like a porn DVD." And then I would like glom on to those people socially, and it worked every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, everybody remembers a horny
that is
gift.
pride. Pride is making friends almost everywhere you go.
It worked like gangbusters. So I went out. So I went out in Omaha, made a bunch of new friends, had an incredible time, and then I got like a ride back to the hotel with like a Jeep full of shirtless gay guys.
Yes.
So we're like come up to like the front of the hotel, and I get out. Everybody gets out. Everybody's doing an air kiss. No one's wearing a shirt. It's not a gay hotel. I wasn't thinking. Like I was a little drunk and I was really high off of like meeting like new people. There was a very horny energy in the air. So I say goodbye to everybody and the Jeep goes away, and I just walk back to the hotel and I get into an elevator with a bunch of guys. who are there because there is a convention of Little League coaches at this hotel.
Oh, I like this. It has turned.
Yeah,
Sports level went up.
Yeah, we got some ball caps going on. We've got some dudes rock energy in this hotel. So I'm getting so excited. I'm
kind of like, this seems like a setup for a porn.
So I'm in the elevator with a bunch of these grown men and dads.
Literally.
Just slow down.
Literally, their dad. They have children.
And most of them are getting off on the one floor and I'm getting off on a different floor. And so first their stop comes and most of them get off. Mm-hmm. And the one guy's like, I'll catch up with you guys or something.
Holy shit.
He stays on the elevator.
Yeah.
Yes.
So hot.
I gotta say.
Yeah. And then he's like, hey, do you want to, have a drink or have a beer or whatever? And at this point, I did not think anything of it because I was like, I just didn't think that anybody had seen me come into the hotel. I just hadn't taken into account that would be a thing at all.
Right.
I was just like, I'm going to bed, whatever. So he's like, oh, you want to have a beer? And I was like, okay. Just like you was like, yeah, beer? You want to have a beer?
Right.
So we go back to his hotel room and we put on the TV and we have a beer, and you can just tell that that's not why we're there.
You can
but
feel that tension in between.
Yeah, and he was so shy, and then I noticed that his leg is shaking because he's so nervous, and that's how I knew that I was in. I was like, he's nervous. I got this. But then. And then we started making out and doing sexy stuff. It was just we were talking about before, the repression came out and he was a wild. Once he got started, he was not nervous anymore after long. I was very confident because he was so nervous, but he turned into a real animal. Yes, it was so hot, but not romantic. It did not have any of that romance angle. It was just a very animalistic act.
That's so hot.
Yes, that was
so hot.
Why is it that I feel like both of those chance encounters are going to be way hotter than mine?
Because they're gay.
Because they're gay. Gay chance encounters are clearly very hot.
Because there's so much shame and potentially the law involved.
And honestly, doing anything illegal is very hot.
Yeah, truly.
Closest thing to illegal I got was I was 17. I lost my virginity to a 19-year-old. But in Virginia, there's a weird law where you're essentially that's allowed.
Oh yeah, if you're cousins.
Yeah. As long as mom and aunt are okay with it, it's fine.
Look at mom/aunt says yes.
Month.
Oh my god.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, what's a good one? Oh, so I used to have this line that I would tell to boys if I thought they were cute. I would stake them out. I'd wait, and then right before I'd leave, I'd go up to them and I'd go, "Hey, I just got to tell you, you are gorgeous." Because guys don't have girls approach them. Straight men do not have girls approach them, and that was my thing. I was aggressive and kind of boyish, but very pretty.
Super hot.
So I'd go up and I said hey, just so you know, you're very gorgeous, but I gotta go. And then he went, wait, can I get your number? I was like, sure. I was a senior in high school. 2 years later, my sophomore year of college, we got back in touch. And he was like, what if you came up to New Hampshire? And I said, sure. And so I go up and he's like, okay. I get there. We have one day together and then I leave the next day. And he goes, okay, this is gonna sound crazy. And I was like, shoot, go. I'm already here. And he goes, what if we told each other the entire day that we've loved each other and we pretend like we've dated this entire year? And I just said, all right, let's do it. And so I love you, wild sex for 2 days. I took an Adderall, so I was up for 24 hours. I was like, I'm not wasting any fucking time. And then on the bus back, I got a UTI.
Oh no!
Oh no!
That's my chance encounter.
Oh my god!
Got a UTI. I had to pee the entire time. I couldn't.
Oh no!
It was rough because too much sex with a dry condom.
Oh no!
When you reuse it because you're in college, you don't know any better.
See, that's the hard thing. I feel like the times that you were having the wildest collegiate irresponsible sex, like the tools are failing you.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
When you
Right.
get older, you're like, I gotta moisturize this up. And you're like, but it's normal and safe and it's 8:30. We're doing it at a
Right.
reasonable
Exactly.
time.
Yeah, it's 8:30 p.m. or a.m. Because those are different types of
Right.
sex. But yeah, no. I mean, like and then the other one was okay, so I'm gonna tell my celebrity story because I've talked about it a lot. I'm gonna tell it because nobody knows him in America. His name is Tim Key. Do you know him?
I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah. Do you know how much of a waste this is? Because not only does nobody know him, but he's not that cute. So I literally fucked him
You're putting
hoping
him on blast,
we're gonna
too.
Google him. Okay, so we're gonna Google Tim Key. That's it.
Okay. Is he British?
Yes. Oh, is he? That's his ex-wife down there. Oh no, now he's gonna be upset. Anyway, so I met him at a bar when I was in London. I was at Soho Theater because a friend of mine worked there. And then I was like, hey, I saw him and I recognized him from like a TV show. And I was like, oh my God, like I know you. And he could hear that I was American. He was like, you're American and you know me? How do you know me? And he thought it was from one of his more like popular shows. But I knew him from this sitcom where he played like a Roman, like captured British slave and had shit in his hat that he put on.
Oh.
And I was like, I know you because you had shit in your hat on that show. Oh my God. And he like literally like, if you're trying to look up shit in hat, you're not going to find it. I think he had it scrubbed from the internet. And he like ignored me for like half the night, but then he came back because I'm very pretty. And we ended up making out in a bar for a little bit.
I love the underlying theme of the show is you're hot.
Yeah, last episode I was just like I bullied boys, and now I'm like I'm very pretty, so I get to be mean to people.
I love that.
Which is kind of true.
You should.
Yeah,
You earned it.
exactly. But anyway, yeah, no. And then he actually did. He had a show in New York, and he was like, "Hey, I'm in New York. You got it. Do you want to come to New York and see me?" And I was like, "No, I don't have time." And so he came down to Philly for a day.
Holy shit.
Power move.
Because you're so gorgeous.
Because I'm so pretty.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric. You're in with the theme of the show. Okay, was there ever something with like a guy that you were just like, I think this is gonna happen. I think we're gonna do it, and then it immediately dissipated because of a thing you did?
Oh, God.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
I feel like it's most experience I've had. I mean, to be completely honest.
The chance was ruined.
Yeah, I mean, mostly it's the things that I've done. I'm trying to think of other people doing stuff. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Oh, there was one. Yeah, it was so clear. Like this guy and I think maybe we met at a club. I can't remember, but we agreed to go on a date. And I pick him up at his house. He lives in Head House Square. Or he lived there. Cute. Had a little dog running around the apartment. He had just gotten home from work. And so he's like, I'm going to go change and then we can go to dinner. We were going to go to dinner at the Chart House where I worked at the time because I had an employee discount there and I had no money. I had literally like maybe like $71 like to my name. And I was like, well, I think we can make it out of there with $71 with my discount. Not, you know, my mother always says like romance without finance is a nuisance. And that's but I
love that.
I was a public nuisance throughout most of my 20s. And so I'm sitting there on the couch and like I get little whiffs of shit, you know, like, and I'm like, and I'm just like, and I have like I have a pretty sensitive sense of smell. Like I'm not like, oh, I'm assaulted by the smells in this place, but I can smell. I have a nose. I don't know. And so he comes back in the room, and I'm like, oh, I think maybe your dog like did a little duty in the couch, and he was like, no, he wouldn't do that. And I was like, okay. Well, it just smells like a little bit of shit in the couch. And he's like, well, it must be something with you. And I was like, okay, well, that's weird. And meanwhile, I'm still like, well, you can still get it. And so we leave.
Your 20s, yes.
Yeah, we leave the apartment. He takes the dog, and I was like, you going to take the dog for a walk now to make him shit? Because I think he already has. And he's like, no, he hasn't seen me all day. He's lonely. So he puts the dog in a bowling bag and takes him to the Chart House, a white tablecloth restaurant where I work.
Oh, no.
So we go to the Chart House. Dogs are not allowed at the Chart House or anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, can't stand that when people are like, it's emotional support. It's like, no, that's not real.
Truly.
That's not real.
Not real at all. Well, no, wait. Maybe. Wait, sorry. I'm agreeing with you, but then I was like, maybe I don't agree. I don't know. Who cares? Are we talking about politics? No, I do think some people need it. I don't know what he needed.
Taking stock out to shit.
So he we're in the restaurant, we're hiding the dog under the table. He's feeding little bits of crab cake. There's a state senator sitting across from us, on a fancy date. And we get the check. The check is $70. I don't have enough to tip my friend. I had to pull her aside and say hey, I'm so sorry. I'll come back tomorrow. I'm working a double. I got you tomorrow. She's like, just get out of this restaurant. He's been weird the whole night. And I'm still well, he can get it. He could get it. Then the dog starts barking in the bag. And I was like,
at the restaurant?
At the restaurant.
Oh.
And he picks the dog up, puts the bowling bag on his lap, and starts throwing little the rest of the food in the bag. The state senator is what's going on? I had to jump up. I'm like, there's a dog in the restaurant. Where did this came from?
Just call him out. That is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. So I was just I don't think this is going to happen with us.
Oh gosh.
And so, yeah, we did not sleep together. I was like, have a great night. And then he called me drunk a couple weeks later. And he was like, you're a racist. And he was like, whoa. And I was like, I'm racist? Against who? The dog? What a mess. And I still thought about it. Oh, God. And then I forgot. Then maybe, I don't know, a year later, I go to the Olive Garden that used to be on Walnut, maybe? Chestnut?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just randomly, I was wanting to go get some unlimited salad breadsticks at the bar. And he was working there. He was working there at the time. And so I see very slowly all of the response from all the servers very slowly change to very cold, very negative, very much we're out of salad. And I was
wait, hold on. This is going to sound ridiculous. I have a few questions.
Please?
Is he from Virginia?
I don't know where he's from.
The rude, sloppy drunk server that ended up working at an Olive Garden rings a bell to me.
No. Oh my God. What if you know him?
Does his name start with a C and is also the name of a famous explorer who is now getting canceled?
I mean, I honestly, it's been so long, I don't remember.
God bless.
Yeah, maybe we can offline. You can show me a picture.
Yeah, we could, because we can do that, because I think I might know who you're talking about, and he's notoriously messy. But neither here nor there, you dodged a bullet.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I have another question, because now I'm realizing that we didn't talk about this because we weren't recording yet. So you're from Baltimore originally. Mm-hmm. Do you feel, especially with the proximity to DC, a little bit of some weird, slightly political, sense of decorum I mean, I don't know if it's a DC thing, Baltimore thing, that area, or just people in general who have a freaking sense of decorum. But if I see somebody doing that in a restaurant, I am mortified.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Just the blood drains from me. And I'm just could you have some class? Oh my God.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, because it's, it's below the Mason-Dixon. So you're it's Southern and Northern at the same time. And you're also sort of you got to act right, I
mean, shoot, if you're ended up working a political, I grew up in DC, my ex-boyfriend's mother was a U.S. ambassador. I have enough experience with, and also my mother did not let me get away with bad table manners, P's and Q's, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But also she was just raised by a very, very bougie lady from Virginia, and then my other family was Cuban, and they were all just very rich Cubans. And that's, the only refugees you don't feel bad for.
Oh my God.
You can't. They are rich and they were wrong. Okay.
Wow. I love that the secret theme of the podcast is let's actually talk about the political thing that we're not supposed to talk about.
Wait, no.
I'm I just came on here to talk about cum.
You said that was off limit.
Let's
talk about cum.
We'll talk about cum if we can. We'll get to the cum.
We've got 15 minutes blocked off at the end for cum.
Just great. It's the cocky hour.
Well, I don't know. Last time we talked about the concept of clarified cum, and I wonder if we could actually make that happen.
Clarified butter?
Yes.
Where you what is it? How do you make it? You boil it down?
Yes, exactly. It's you cook it to the point where the lactose and the fat separate.
Oh, that's interesting.
And could you clarify cum?
Does cum have lactose in it?
Well, cum has seed.
Now you sound like a gay man. I feel like only gay men are like, you want that? I'm gonna put my seed in you.
The number of different ways you talk about it is load, seed.
Oh, they're so disgusting.
Load, seed. I guess I can't. I think that's splooge, jizz. I don't like jizz. Jizz feels cheap.
And then there's like there's a separate like pre-cum and cum, or separate, chemically separate,
Yes.
or biological or physiological or whatever separate, but also like different interest levels. Like, look, I'm guilty of it too, where it's just like, oh, I'm pre-cumming so bad. Oh, fuck yeah. Like, oh, you're at a bar and you're like, and your pants are wet. How exciting
that's
for
hot.
you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I think that gay men are more creative and have like a better like vocabulary for cum than straight guys, because every straight guy I've ever had sex with, oh, don't you want my cum? Could you shut up? Like, do what you're good at. Like, just go down on me. Just fill your mouth so that you don't get to talk.
Oh my God. I think it's mostly gay men are bored and we're like, what can we call it today?
Just like fill a whole vocabulary.
Like literally fill a whole vocabulary.
Eric, you are on. You are on. Okay, wait, what happened? Was there a moment where you were just like, I cannot anymore? Where you really wanted to hook up with a guy and then he just did something and ruined it?
Well,
It's a loaded laugh.
well, there was one guy who he was just extraordinarily well hung, and my stomach was bigger than my eyes. There was just absolutely nothing that I could do with it, but like kind of bat it around like a cat. And he was so mad because I was so excited about it because it was so big, but then like I couldn't fit it, and he was really unhappy about that. Yeah, he was so mad.
He was mad?
Yeah, because my butthole hurt and my mouth hurt, my jaw hurt, and I was just, it was like I had met him at the very end of the night.
Oh God, yeah, we were worn out.
It was,
already.
I was already so worn. It was like the end of my 20s. All that looseness was coming to a head. I don't know. But I just could not, and it really kind of like it ended as like a sad hookup where I'm just like sadly just getting as much of my mouth like around this like and like trying to and be like, I like that, Daddy. Like, are you close? Are you close? Like it was
the dick that ended your 20s.
It was the dick that ended my 20s.
I can't do this like I used to.
But he wanted to come and he needed to get there. But so we got him there, and then I got the fuck out. I was like,
God
but
bless
that's how I
you.
learned. Like, careful what you wish for.
Well, it's like I feel like sometimes it's like when you go to the carnival or the state fair and you're like, I want to win that big prize, with the shooting of the little water guns or whatever.
Right.
And then you win a huge polar bear and then you got to carry it around all day.
You got to lug it around.
And you're like, you got funnel cake on it. And you can't take it on a ride. You got to like, one of your friends has to stay behind to hold the polar bear for you while you go on the ride. And you're like, I didn't sign up for this huge dick. Like, I don't know what this is about. But I do feel like that's a shared responsibility for him as well. And I've learned this in my 40s. You have to be responsible for your own big dick,
Absolutely.
You can't just walk in, like, how big your dick is, man. And you're just like, knock, knock, who's there?
You have to have a game plan for that big dick.
You gotta have
angry TSA, sir,
right,
sir, stop.
I'm like, that is not a carry-on. He knows he doesn't have a carry-on.
He's trying to fit it in that little box.
It's like, if you're trying to fit in that little box, you better have some great lube. You better have some poppers. You better have worked it out. He can't be throwing it up in your butt without working that butthole up a little bit for an hour, I think.
Come on.
Hello, come on.
I will say, the only reason I've ever had anal is because of small penises.
Oh, yeah.
It's when I found one, I've been like, this will fit.
Yeah.
This is pocket size.
Yeah.
Are you saying I have good ideas about anal?
I think it's a weird idea because I hate if it comes to me like getting F'd in the A. Like I do not want like a little Peter because it's gonna be like just jabbing against my beehole. It's not gonna like enter because you need the length to get past the cheeks, and into and inside. And if you're just there's nothing more annoying than like just a little jabby pointy dick like at the door of your butthole. Like that's not good to your prostate.
I think you said the magic word for me, which is cheeks.
Oh yeah, see that's the thing. Sometimes it's really about that like that screen door action. versus
I've
the
got
living room.
I can just depart.
Yeah.
I can just part the seas. And then you just kind of have a straight trajectory right into. Also, just like, I don't have a prostate. I don't know.
There you go.
It doesn't matter so much as I'm just like a cool chick.
You're a cool, beautiful chick. A little bit.
And to be fair, the first time I ever did anal, I was like drunk, and I just remember being like, "That's not where that usually goes, but let's try it out." And then the other time, I was just my ex had a very small penis, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? To spice it up, why not?"
Okay.
Yeah, we had just watched a really good movie. We felt really connected.
Paddington.
Yeah.
It's Paddington 2.
So there we go.
Oh my God. Was there like ever an encounter with somebody that was like a second time, that it was like the chance was you guys meeting again?
Oh.
God. Oh yeah, I think that's when most of it. I mean, I think that's also like the 40s is like the decade of the second. Like,
the ring.
like you know, some of it's been like you figured your shit out. Like we were both deranged, and then we figured out how to not be deranged. And do you want to bring that not so crazy over here now, or do you want to bring that like 4 or 5 years of therapy over here now, like that's,
Ooh,
or
yeah.
10 years of therapy, so that's nice. Or the like, I always liked you. Okay, that used to be so annoying.
I kind of like those, but continue.
Yeah. No, I mean I used to hate it because it was just like, well, why didn't you tell me back then? We're gonna and now I'm like, okay.
Right, yeah.
Let's go.
I am pretty great, but glad you finally figured it out.
Right, yeah. Welcome to the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a fun thing about getting older and staying slutty. I moved to Philadelphia in 2003, and I remember in my first 5 years of living here, I went to see Jeffrey. Remember that play?
Yes,
It became a movie?
yeah.
And there was an actor that I thought was so handsome and so dreamy, and I had the biggest crush on him. And he was like, big on the scene, probably on MySpace, actor at the time. And so I just kind of knew of him. And then, a handful of years later, I think it was like 2017, we were at a film premiere of some kind during like the queer film festival that's in Philly now. Yeah. And we ended up like having a drink afterwards, and we went home together and like woke up together, and it was like a really he didn't know. I never told him that I was like, I had a crush on you like 10 years ago. But in my head, I'm like, I fucking did it. I fucking made it happen.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
See, I feel like there was one guy that I knew in high school. I knew him in middle school. I punched him in the face once.
Oh.
He called me a whore.
Oh.
And specifically, whore I'm not a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Sure.
Slut, whatever. Yeah, call me a slut. I'm a filthy little slut. It's fine. But like, don't call me a whore. It's so loaded, especially since like phonetically too. It's aggressive. Like, whore. It's too much. And I punched him in the face. And I remember when I punched him in the face, he went, I earned that. I deserve that.
Oh.
Okay.
And that was in 8th grade. And like, we were both still blossoming. He wasn't that cute. I wasn't that cute. It was like fine. But then like years later, I posted on Facebook. I was home for college and I just went, hey, like, looking to drive around. Anybody free tonight? And he DM'd me and was like, I'm around.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, interesting, Jake Landis.
First and last name.
You have to firsty lasty. There are people that are firsty lasty. It had to happen. So he picks me up and we're driving around and I'm just kind of like, there's a weird good vibe here that I never knew. And then he was like, all right, like I guess I can drive you back. And I was like, no, not yet. And then I was like, what if we pulled over into our like middle school's parking lot where we knew each other? I was like, let's go back to Deal real quick. And he said, sure. And so we pull in the Deal parking lot. He's like, why'd you want to go here? And I was like, I don't know, I just feel kind of nostalgic. And then he goes, okay. And then like we sit there for like 2 seconds and we start making out. And then we end up hooking up. And it was, that was a fun one. That was a fun chance encounter because I feel like although it was like around, like we had, kind of grown up a little bit, it was still like, I never would have expected.
Yeah.
Ever. And then I asked him, like, did you ever crush on me? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay. Well.
Couldn't thread that needle.
Right. You couldn't lie to me just a little bit. And then, no. And then I had one other one, but it wasn't really, I mean, like we never ended up hooking up, but the chance encounter was he texted me and was like, hey, I'm going to a party tonight. I don't have anybody to go with. Do you want to go together? And I said, oh yeah, sure. I thought it was this one guy. It was really hot. It was like the second person I'd ever had sex with. Like he was so hot. And then he's like, okay, I'm here. I get in the car. I turn, don't know who the fuck this guy is.
Oh no!
I'm trying for the life of me to remember his name.
Holy shit!
And he's just like, so how have you been? And I'm like, good.
How about you? Can you start from the beginning?
Like, where have you been? Your
parents or job of some sort.
And then like literally like 10 minutes in, we're driving to the party, and then I just go, Zach, and he's just like, what? And I was like, Zach.
Oh my god!
It's nice to see you.
That is the hardest thing when I feel like that happens to me constantly because I don't really remember names that well.
Yeah.
Especially if we're not following each other online, because online I can like look at your name all the time and it's in my brain. But if you have like your name is like Puppy Love 12, I'm like, okay, that's Puppy Love 12. You know, like
yeah.
I don't know what your name is. And so I'm like at bars and I'm just like, hey, babe, what's going on, big man? How you doing? Come rock it. And, you know,
what's your like trick? Because, okay, my trick is I'll be like, oh, come here. You have to meet this person. Hi, this is my friend Alejandro. Alejandro?
Yeah. No, I do that.
Yeah,
I do that a lot. I do, sometimes it's like, oh, hey, put your number in my phone, you know?
That's a good one.
And like, then I'm just like, pull up the contact and like give them the whole thing. I'm like, you're in charge, you know? Like, I don't want to, I don't know. Yeah. If we don't follow each other, then I'm just like, do we follow each other? I don't know.
You should just look yourself up.
I'm always like, oh, what was your last name? Like,
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
That's okay. Yeah, the last time we got just like a little note up in the corner. It's 2 minutes left. We went on for 10 more minutes. So we've got anyway. Yeah, we'll cut out this. We'll cut this out.
This isn't gold.
Okay, wait. Hold on. I'm gonna because my thing. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I have one. So when you were saying that it was like a chance encounter for you, but not for your husband, I did something like that where I orchestrated a chance encounter with a guy who took my V card back in the 90s and who I found his Instagram page for his landscaping business a few years ago. And I didn't want him to know that I'd been looking for him actively on social media all these years. Because it was good. It was good. If you listen to the first episode of the podcast, you know why it was good. Because I had an orgasm. It was really wonderful. So 20 years later, I become aware of his landscaping company and I'm following it on Instagram. And then I see that he posts a story about that he had been on the local news because he did a walk for veterans, for veteran awareness, because he had served in Iraq and Afghanistan. And so I sent him an email at his landscaping website. Like, I just saw you on the news. I think that's so cool what you did. Good. And I don't know if you remember me. We went to high school together. He emailed me back within like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
We've got the phone number going back within like 10 minutes, and then we're texting. And but he never found out that I didn't actually see him on the news.
Did you guys bang again?
It took us 7 or 8 months of chatting, but we finally hooked up on a couple of folding chairs in my mom's basement while she was recovering from knee surgery.
Amazing! Oh, that's so sweet.
Yes, while his teen daughters were at school because he has 9 children.
9?
What?
Yes. So I don't think he was gay. I think he's bisexual.
Varieties of spice of life.
Something about it.
So he's a veteran. Can you ask him if he knew my guy?
Get them back in contact.
Yeah.
Do it. What a love story.
I got folding chairs.
The moral is, God bless our armed forces. We're dating.
Thank you so much, Eric Thomas. You have a new book out, correct?
I do, yeah. My book is called Congratulations, The Best is Over. It is a coming of middle age story. It's a series of essays about moving home against my will and trying to find friends as an adult, which is impossible.
It's, oh my God, virtually impossible.
Yeah.
But you're my friend. I love this.
There we go.
This is so lovely.
Yeah. Careful, she's mean. But beautiful.
That's all I want in life. One of the first times Alejandro and I really connect, I said something and Alejandro just goes, "Ooh, you're mean." And I was just like, "It feels seen. Thank you." Anyway, thank you, Eric Thomas. We're dating. Good night.
Bye. You know what is an amazing idea, Rachel?
What's an amazing idea?
Liking and subscribing
Oh my God, you're very, very right.
to us.
To us at we.r.datingpod on Instagram, and you can find us under that on YouTube as well.
That's right. That's we.r.datingpod, and that's the letter R.
Yeah, that was my bad.
You'll figure it out.
How you doing? This is Neil Wood from the Cult of Us podcast, speaking on behalf of Drop 10 Media Network, the network you're currently listening to. Make sure to check out all the other podcasts on the network. You can go to drop10.com to check them all out. Make sure to like, subscribe on everything that you see Drop 10 on. We appreciate it. Go to drop10.com now.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.